For millennia, humans have looked to the stars in wonder, yearning to know its secrets. From the fantasy of Jules Verne's science fiction to the moon landing, voyage beyond Earth's orbit became a reality in less than a century. Since our first foray into the cosmos, geopolitical rivalry has played a key role in space exploration. In 2019, former Vice President Mike Pence compared America's current rivalry in outer space with China to the Cold War space race with the Soviet Union. Will these tensions between the US and China spark another space race, or something potentially much more dangerous? The first space race was sparked by the Soviet Union's announcement in October 1957 that it had launched the first satellite into space. The satellite, named Sputnik, was soon followed by Laika, the first dog sent into space. These firsts were proud accomplishments of Soviet space research and a diplomatic win for the communist camp. The US rushed to get its act together and organized its disparate space efforts into the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, or NASA, which was founded in 1958. The US managed to launch its first satellite into orbit in 1960. The following year, the Russians beat the Americans again to another first, on April 12, 1961, when Yuri Gagarin became the first human to orbit the Earth. The early victories of its rival pushed the US to aim higher. On September 12, 1962, President John F. Kennedy announced the US's ambition to put a man on the moon before 1970.
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
This dream became a reality on July 20th, 1969, when US astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin became the first humans to walk the moon's surface.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Throughout the Cold War, many worried that space would become another theater of conflict between two superpowers. The 1967 Outer Space Treaty, presented to the UN by the US, UK, and USSR, attempted to calm these fears by establishing basic rules for space exploration. It enshrined space exploration as being for the benefit of all mankind. It forbade nuclear weapons in outer space, and forbade claiming sovereignty of celestial objects or planets. During the Cold War, space stations like Skylab and Mir were created to conduct groundbreaking experiments in Earth's orbit. In 1994, the International Space Station was put into orbit, built as a collaborative effort between the US, EU, and Russia, alongside other partners like Japan and Canada. Throughout the 2000s and 2010s, space was an area for cooperation between countries, even those with otherwise unfriendly relations. This is illustrated by the US's reliance on Russian Soyuz rockets to ferry its astronauts to the International Space Station after the end of the Space Shuttle program. The largest actors in outer space today by budget are NASA, the China National Space Administration, the European Space Agency, and Roscosmos. International cooperation is starting to take a sideline to national space ambitions. The ISS is now facing budget difficulties and may be decommissioned in the next 5 years. China is rapidly becoming a major actor in space. On January 3, 2019, China became the first country to land a spacecraft on the far side of the moon. The CNSA is investing billions in space, and will soon be launching its own Tianhe space station. China plans to continue sending its probes into outer space, and will eventually be sending its astronauts to the lunar surface. China's rising ambitions in space echo its growing economic and geopolitical power. Beyond friendly competition, there have been reports of China hacking foreign satellites, jamming or spoofing GPS signals, and China is believed to have developed the capability to intercept and destroy enemy satellites. Russia and India likely possess similar capabilities, but China is already significantly outspending Russia in space. NASA is well known for its manned space exploration, robotic probes sent into the cosmos, and its scientific experimentation on the ISS. Beyond these science-oriented activities, Private companies such as SpaceX and Blue Origin have expanded human activities in space to the commercial sector. SpaceX has launched thousands of satellites into space and has even ferried astronauts to the International Space Station. China's space rivalry with the US continues in the private sector, with startups such as iSpace, OneSpace, and Galactic Energy. Last year, China announced that it will send 10,000 satellites into low Earth orbit in order to compete with the hundreds of satellites that SpaceX has launched as part of its Starlink internet service. Space has long been an area for geopolitics, but also for scientific research and collaboration. After an era of strong space collaboration, it seems we are headed towards a Cold War-style era of competition between two superpowers. India's growing space presence and its tense border confrontations with China could further increase the geopolitical risks in outer space. Europe has been the least organized with space defense, but some researchers are now arguing that Europe should begin enhancing its defense capabilities. The United States is of course present in space defense, which President Trump recently attempted to organize in his infamous Space Force. The militarization of space technologies by certain state actors is a worrying trend that may spark an increased militarization of space. In a world ever dependent on digital communications, an attack on satellite or other communications infrastructure could have paralyzing military and economic consequences. If geopolitical tensions continue to rise on Earth, will space remain a place for collaboration or become yet another stage for confrontation?